What is LGBT? LGBT stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender. Okay, some young people who identify as LGBT can experience a lack of support, awareness and acceptance. Okay, today we will talk more about transgender. What is transgender? Transgender people have a gender identity or gender expression that differs from the sex that they were assigned at birth. They desire medical assistance to transition from one sex to another, identified as transsexual. Transgender often shortened as trans people. Okay, as we all know, transgender or LGBT is haram in Islam. Ad-dalilu huwa la'ana Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam ar-rajula yalbasu libsahul mar'a wal mar'atu talbasu libsatal rajul, which means the apostle of Allah cursed the man who dressed like a woman and woman who dressed like a man. Also, in fact, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam never compromised with such acts that is totally cursed and prohibited by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, anyone who is LGBT in Malaysia will be punished by up to 20 years in prison, and authorities will also bring the person to corporal punishment.
As we know, there are various issues of toilet usage by these transgender people were discussed in 2018. Government suggests that transgender community to use disabled toilet as an option while in public place. At the same time, they trying to understand transgender related issue, including the function of religious institution in addressing the problem and ensuring they return to fitrah. As we know, transgender issues are important to talk about because teenagers' thinking is now easily influenced. It should be discussed to prevent them from getting stuck with transgender group.
This factor usually happen to those who are age range 12 to 15 years old. They're still cute, young and not mature yet. That's why they really need surrounding that can help them develop their growth in terms of personality, mentality and sexuality. I give you one example. There are one boy who are born with a soft personality. I guarantee 20% to 30% of our community will start talk badly about that. The thing is getting worse when they start to mock and gossip directly. I'm sure that kids will be so upset. And as a new high school student, I'm sure they're really excited to meet their new friends, teachers and senior. But because of their naivety and the soft personality, sometimes they can't differ any touch with them. That's why in some cases, their children were sodomized by senior students. At last, they're getting confused about their sexuality, and this is getting serious when this is become the trigger when they're adult.
Method is correct, then the result is beautiful. According to the search result, a large number of parents do not agree when their child is interested in transgender issue, but many are also supportive. This happens when the gender of the child is not as expected. This situation occurs when they have made an initial plan by buying clothes and toys that are not suitable for their child's gender. This may be a costume and clothes and games that do not suit his gender. This can lead to uncertainty about their sexuality and inspire them to be the opposite sex. He will tend to act like that gender. When they get used to those needs, they find it difficult to act like their gender. If parents still accept action that are contrary to reality, this will make it easier for them to change their physical form.
Social media is the one of the factors of these transgender issues. Social media is better known for sharing information and finding out the current issues. However, not everyone uses it well. Sometimes the information that we share have a negative impact on human beings. This is also related to the culture of transgender, which is contrary to the teaching of Islam. Nowadays, there are many people have easily influenced, especially teenagers. Teenagers have easily addicted when using social media that make them fail to think and control themselves well. They may be affected by pictures, videos, or issues that uploaded on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. In addition, in Twitter, They employ the usage of hashtag to classify this movement in order to gain the new followers or maintaining the current ones by letting them know that people do follow this hashtag. Moreover, many people have not ashamed to reveal their change to public, such as the popular celebrity like Nur Sajjad and Safi Ilyas. These two are successful persons in our country. Maybe their expose may have inspired them. It will make them think that they are supported and not alone. So we need to be more careful when using social media, because without we realize it, we will easily fall into things that are forbidden in Islam.
LGBT can allow a big impact without us realize about it. It also can affect towards our religion. If LGBT left unchecked, it can cause harm to the generation of Muslims and our country one day. As happened to the previous ummah, if it's not handled wisely by the authorities, especially those who are knowledgeable in the field of religion, including the National Fatwa Committee, we have to keep remember that the strict prohibition of Allah on anyone involved with a group cursed by Allah for practicing something that is unnatural and basis of the religious teachings. LGBT activities are clearly against Islamic teachings. Other religions also actually forbid their followers from engaging in this negative activity. However, with the greed of human lust, the forbidding things always the favorite things to follow. Therefore, the story of the punishment of the people of Prophet Lut alaihi salam is found in Surah Al-Anbiya, Surah Al-Hud, and Surah Al-Qamar. After a lot of research done, the event or location at the punishment of alaihi salam Lut was in the city of Sodom, in the area now known as Dead Sea, or on Lake Lut, which is located the border between Palestine and Jordan. Here is the little story about the destruction of the people of the Prophet Lut in the Quran. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Atatuna dhukrana minal alamin wa tadharuna ma khalaqalakum rabbukum min azwajikum bal antum qaumun adun. Why do you men lust after fellow men, leaving the wives that your Lord has created for you? In fact, you are a transgender people. In Surah Hud 82 is explained. The people of Prophet Lut were destroyed by being overturned the top down and the bottom up, and then rained with stone that burned repeatedly.
Anyone who is involved in LGBT, either intentionally or unintentionally, seem to set foot in hell pit of fire, because LGBT is one of the illegal acts in Islam and it caused by God. This type of person will go through daily life with uneasiness and restlessness. They look like people who go through their daily life like everyone else, but the fact is that this individual keeps secret that many people do not know, and it is unthinkable that they are involved in this LGBT or transgender activity. When this act is known to the public, and directly this person will get ridiculed, insults, swearing and sarcasm thrown by people. Those people who have trapped themselves in LGBT consciously or unconsciously have brought down their dignity and even degrading the dignity of their family. These people just want to satisfy the lust inside them without thinking of consequences and seem to be born as a result of committing such immoral acts. People like this are very fond of the devil, especially Muslims who have a weak face, because they are easily deceived by the devil's subtle whisper. The immoral acts they experience have caused their future to be dark and ruined.
Continue by effect in our society. Lately, transgender topic has become the hot issue in our society. This is because it has a very profound effect on community institutions in a life social. A person who does not comply with the rules of society, it will be removed from the society. For example, people who are involved with transgender will be expelled by society because it is fear will influence others, especially young people, to join them. If it happens, community honor will fall and be scratched like rice into the porridge. So we can see here the effect of transgender on society very strong because it involves dignity as a human being who always maintains the customs and religious belief.
Care for LGBT people. Maintaining non-judgmental is make sure LGBT people feel safe and included. Also means keeping an open behaviors, their identities, and expressions. So, before you asking any personal questions, make sure your facial expressions are not sending tiny messages to them. However, our way for taking care LGBT people is only as humanity. Even though Islam still strictly prohibits LGBT from happening to every individual.
First of all, transgender people must be approached and not be shunned. Therefore, they need to be courted by approaching them through good examples in accordance with the requirements of Islamic morality. Street approach dakwah need to be organized and implemented more often and periodically. Among the dakwah strategies, appropriate to do them is prudent and gentle approach with use good words, give encouragement and advice, as well as teaching with appropriate intonation. Using their word according to their situation so easy understood. Moreover, the approach of debate that best so described is not easy offended. Even morals of the noble is highlighted is able to attract interest them to approach the teachings of Islam. In fact, they are hard to discuss matters things they are poorly understood. Thank you.